So it goes without saying, like anything else, there's always extremes and then there's always the moderate one. Okay. The extreme here is, on the one hand, is the hard fact, super fixed exchange rate. The other extreme is super float, meaning you let the exchange rate move up and down according to whatever the market says. Okay. The example in the super float is like Japanese yen, US dollar in this country, in the US, totally float. Euro currency is also float. Okay. Now, on the hard facts, the example, because there are three types of hard facts. One is the currency union, the second is dollarization, and the third is currency board. In the case of currency union, that is basically the most extreme hard fact. It was so extreme that even 10 different countries, okay, 10 different countries may forego their currency so that they adopt only one currency. European Union is one example. That's a currency union, basically, because it's only one currency. Okay, but once you adopt that one currency, then the next question is that do you let that one currency float or you peg it? Now, in the case of euro, it's float. But imagine if you're talking about Italy, for example, then essentially Italy doesn't have currency now, because Italian lira used to be called lira. Italian lira is gone now, because now if you do some transaction in Italy, you have to use euro. Okay, why? Because Italy joins currency union, basically. Now, dollarization, that's another example. Dollarization means that you give up your currency, you don't have your local currency. So, for example, Indonesia doesn't have rupiah. Instead, Indonesia use dollar. So, in day-to-day transaction, you have to use dollar. Okay. Then people ask, what's then the difference between currency union and dollarization? Because in the case of Italy, as I gave you an example earlier, they give up the lira and then they adopt euro. Okay, but what is the difference then? Because in the case of dollarization, if a country give up their currency and then they adopt, in this case, dollar, then it's like currency union. Well, the biggest difference is in the currency union, the super central bank means the central bank of all the central banks of the member countries. Like in the case of euro, it's the ECB, European Central Bank. The headquarters is in Frankfurt, okay? But ECB is not the central bank of Germany. ECB is the central bank of all those countries in Europe that adopt euro, okay? So, in the case of currency union, the super central bank concern and care with what happened with the economy of member countries. In the case of dollarization, no. So, take for example, Panama. Panama is using US dollars. So if you go to Panama, if you buy or doing some transaction, you have to use US dollar there. But US Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of Europe, the central bank of the United States, they don't care about what happened with the economy of Panama, because it's the choice of Panama to use US dollar. Whereas in the case of currency union, the super central bank cares with the economy of all member countries. So ECB has to care about French economy, has to care about the German economy, has to care about Portugal's economy, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, like anything else, as I said, there's always the moderate one, which is the intermediate system. That's in the middle. And many of countries fall under that category. So either basket peg, crawling peg, or exchange rate band. Exchange rate band means, you put the upper band and lower band, and then you let the exchange rate move according to the market as long as it doesn't go beyond that band. Yeah. That's what they meant by exchange rate band. Now let me ask you, Where is Indonesian rupiah?
Intermediate.
Correct, intermediate. So now, which one? Which one is the intermediate in Indonesia? Is it basket pack, crawling pack, or pen?
Before we can answer your question, you haven't explained about basket and crawling pack. Like, what are their differences?
Oh, okay, yeah. Basket pack means you attach your local currency not against one currency like US dollar or euro, but against a basket of currency. So several countries, depending on, maybe which countries that you trade the most with. Suppose that you have 3 countries, the biggest trading partners of Indonesia, suppose, okay? Then you attach your rupiah with the currency of those 3 countries. You can use the weight of the trade volumes, for example, with those 3 countries. That's basket pack, okay? Whereas crawling pack, basically crawling pack is like you use an implicit target. Let me give you an example. Suppose Bank Indonesia has an implicit target. We don't want rupiah weaken more than 15,000 per US dollar. Suppose, okay? They don't need to announce that, okay? It's only internal within monetary authority or within the government. They believe that the currency cannot go beyond 15,000. Okay? Now, suppose the movement of the market was in such that currency is getting closer, 14,900, 14,950, 14,990, and then it hits 15,000. Then tomorrow it can be more than 15,000, right? And that goes beyond your implicit target. So what do? You intervene the market. And I'm going to explain after this what is the mechanism of the intervention in the foreign exchange market. Okay? But that's essentially crawling pack. So you let the exchange rate to crawl, basically. But the difference is that you don't announce. So Bank Indonesia did not announce that, ladies and gentlemen, we do not want the rupiah to become weaker than 15,000, for example. But sometimes smart people can already guess. Let me give you one example. I don't know if whenever I'm in Indonesia, sometimes I read the newspaper, and the governor of Bank Indonesia usually said, "Oh, I believe that rupiah will not, get weaker than 14,700, for example." Okay. So remember, he's not saying we don't want rupiah to get weaker than 14,700. Instead, what he said is we don't believe that rupiah will get weaker than 14,000. So to me, smart people will read it. That is the implicit target, essentially. Okay? So that is the crawling pack. Is that clear now? The difference about basket and crawling pack?
Yes, it's pretty clear.
All right. So that is the. So I was asking earlier about Indonesia. So you answered correctly. Indonesia is in the intermediate. But which one is that? Is it basket or crawling pack or bed?
I'm going to guess a crawling pack, I suppose.
Of course, I just explained to you 1 minute ago. Yeah. So of course that's the correct answer, because that's exactly what if you read newspaper, it doesn't have to be Masperia. I mean, it doesn't have to be the governor of Bank Indonesia, but the authority of the central bank or even the government. Sometimes Sri Mulyani, as the Minister of Finance, make an announcement, "Oh, I don't believe that rupiah will get weaker than 14,700. So they don't need to explain, we want rupiah, stronger than 14,000. But that's an implicit. That's some sort of crawling back, basically. Okay? So anyway, those are the list of countries that adopts different fixed exchange rate here. So currency union, dollarization, and currency bond. Now, from the theoretical standpoint, the regime of exchange rate ranges from the most floating to the very fixed, right? So let's see what the theory says here.